My name's Sarah, and in 2015, I was 24, a brand new special education teacher in a small public school district in the Midwest. The town was the kind of place where everyone knew your business. Think brick storefronts, Friday night football, and a diner where the coffee was always burnt. My classroom was in an old elementary school, its halls smelling of chalk and Lysol, the walls papered with faded construction paper art. I'd dreamed of being a teacher since I was a kid. Inspired by my own special ed teacher, Mrs. Ellis, who saw me when I felt invisible, struggling with dyslexia in a world that didn't understand. I wanted to be that for my students, to give them a voice, a chance, a safe place to grow. Special education wasn't just a job, it was a calling, and I poured everything into it, even when the hours were long and the pay was barely enough to cover my rent. My apartment was a tiny one-bedroom above a hardware store, its windows rattling with every passing truck, the air carrying the faint smell of sawdust. I'd spend evenings there, grading papers, planning lessons, my desk piled with sticky notes and coffee mugs. My vision board was taped to the fridge, pictures of a classroom full of smiling kids, a house I'd buy one day, a life built on making a difference. That first year was a whirlwind. Special ed is a beast. Endless paperwork, IEPs, parent meetings, and kids who need you to be their advocate, their cheerleader, their safe harbor. I had 12 students, each with unique needs from autism to behavioral challenges. I loved them fiercely, stayed up late crafting lesson plans, spent my own money on supplies, crayons, fidget toys, anything to make the classroom theirs. But it was hard. The district was underfunded, the classrooms overcrowded, and the bureaucracy was a maze of forms and deadlines. I leaned on my mentor, Miss Harper, a veteran teacher with a sharp laugh and a knack for cutting through red tape. "You'll survive," she'd say, her eyes crinkling over coffee in the staff lounge. "Just keep your kids first, and you'll find your way." One student stole my heart from day one. Jay, a kindergartner with bright brown eyes and a smile that could light up the room. Jay had autism and some intense behavioral challenges, including eloping, running away from the classroom, the school, even into the neighborhood. It was terrifying, a safety crisis that kept me up at night, my heart racing every time I pictured him darting into traffic. The first time it happened was in September, a warm afternoon when the classroom windows were open, the smell of cut grass drifting in. Jay was playing with blocks, then suddenly bolted for the door, faster than I could react. I chased him, my sneakers pounding the linoleum, my voice hoarse as I called his name. He made it to the playground, then the sidewalk, before I caught him, my arms around his small frame, his heart racing against mine. I brought him back, my hands shaking, the other kids wide-eyed. I wrote up the incident, my pen scratching the paper, and met with Jay's mom, Lisa, a single parent with tired eyes and a fierce love for her son. "He needs someone with him," she said, her voice breaking. "I can't lose him." I nodded, my throat tight, promising I'd fight for him. I started tracking Jay's elopements, logging every incident, dates, times, triggers. By October, I had pages of data, a story of a little boy who wasn't safe without one-on-one support. I took it to my supervisor, Mr. C., a district admin with a corner office and a reputation for being by the book. His office smelled of leather and air freshener, his desk piled with folders, his tie always too tight. "Mr. C," I said, spreading my data across his desk, "Jay needs a one-on-one para. He's eloping into the neighborhood. It's a safety crisis." He nodded, his eyes scanning the pages, and said, "You're right, Sarah. Let's start the safety net process." I left his office, my heart lighter, believing we were a team, that Jay would get what he needed. If you've worked in special ed, you know the safety net process is a beast. Forms, meetings, data, all in precise language to justify a one-on-one paraprofessional. It's like running a marathon through a maze, with deadlines that loom like storm clouds. Mr. C guided me through it, meeting me in my classroom after school, the fluorescent lights buzzing, the smell of dry erase markers in the air. We worked for weeks crafting the application, tweaking every word. I'd stay late, my eyes burning from the computer screen, Jay's smile in my mind, his safety, my mission. Mr. C was patient, pointing out errors, suggesting phrases, his voice calm but firm. "You're doing good work, Sarah," he'd say, and I believed him, trusted him, thought he had my back. I flashed back to a moment in college, my first special ed practicum, when Mrs. Ellis told me, "Teaching is about trust, Trust in your team, your kids, yourself. I thought Mr. C was part of that team, a mentor like Miss Harper, someone who'd fight for Jay as hard as I did. By November, the application was done. Hundreds of pages, data, narratives, Lisa's testimony, all in a neat binder I was proud of. I sent it to Mr. C for his final review. My email timestamped 8:47 p.m., the classroom quiet except for the hum of the radiator. I expected notes, maybe a quick approval, but I got nothing. Silence. I waited a day. Teachers are busy, right? No big deal. I emailed again, a polite nudge, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. More silence. I called his office, left a voicemail with his secretary Karen, her voice clipped but kind. Still nothing. For 2 weeks, I tried everything. Emails, calls, even stopping by his office where Karen said he was in a meeting. The deadline was approaching, November 15th, and my worry grew. A knot in my chest, Jay's safety hanging in the balance. The deadline passed, a cold, gray day where the classroom felt too small, Jay's laughter a reminder of what was at stake. That afternoon, my inbox pinged with an email from Mr. C, his subject line blunt, safety net application. I opened it, my heart pounding, expecting an explanation, an apology. Instead, his words hit like a slap. Sarah, since you didn't reach out with the final copy of the safety net application, it wasn't submitted. The one-on-one for Jay wasn't approved. I sat at my desk, the classroom dark except for the glow of my laptop. The radiators hum a low roar. Didn't reach out? I'd sent emails, left voicemails, practically begged for his response. He was blaming me, throwing me under the bus to cover his own failure, leaving Jay without the support he needed. I was pissed, a fire in my chest I hadn't felt before. I thought of Jay, his small hand in mine after an elopement, his trust in me to keep him safe. I thought of Lisa. Her tired eyes, her plea. I can't lose him. And I thought of myself, 24, new to this job, trusting Mr. C to have my back, only to find out he'd stabbed it instead. I flashed back to a moment in September, Jay's first elopement, my heart racing as I chased him, the neighborhood blurring past. I'd promised him, promised Lisa, promised myself I'd make this right. Mr. C's email wasn't just a lie, it was a betrayal, a threat to everything I'd fought for. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I got to work. I opened my laptop, my hands steady despite the rage, and pulled up every email I'd sent Mr. C, timestamps, polite, desperate. I downloaded call logs from my phone, noting every voicemail, every unanswered plea. I printed his final email, its words a cold accusation, and stapled it to the stack, a paper trail of his lie. I thought of Miss Harper, her voice sharp in the staff lounge. Always keep records, Sarah, they're your armor. I'd listened, saved every email, every note, not because I distrusted Mr. C, but because I was new, careful, determined to do this right. Now those records were my weapon, proof that I hadn't failed Jay or myself. I drafted an email to Mr. B, the head of Special Education Services, a man I'd never met but knew by reputation. Fair, tough, no nonsense. I attached every receipt, emails, call logs, Mr. C's message, and wrote a letter, my words clear, professional, but burning with truth. Mr. B, I wrote, I did everything required for Jay's safety net application. Mr. C failed to respond, then blamed me. Jay's safety is at stake, and I need your help. I hit send, my heart pounding, the classroom silent except for the tick of the clock. I didn't know what would happen, didn't know if Mr. B would believe me, but I knew I'd done what I could. For Jay, for Lisa, for the teacher I wanted to be. I left the classroom that night, the binder under my arm, the weight of my choice heavy but right. I'd fought for Jay, stood up to Mr. C's lie, but the waiting was its own kind of battle. The silence from Mr. B, a storm cloud on the horizon. I thought the hardest part was sending that email, laying out the truth. But I was wrong. The real fight was what came next. The response, the fallout, and the realization that my stand would change everything. For Jay, for me, and for the man who'd tried to break us. The next 2 days were agony, a blur of teaching, grading, and checking my inbox every hour. The classroom felt different, the fluorescent lights too harsh, Jay's laughter a reminder of what was at stake. I kept teaching, kept smiling, but the knot in my chest grew. Mr. C's email a shadow I couldn't shake. I confided in Miss Harper, meeting her in the staff lounge, the smell of burnt coffee thick in the air. You did the right thing, she said, her voice low, her eyes sharp. But be ready, Sarah. Men like Mr. C don't go down easy. She told me about her own run-in with a principal years ago, how she'd kept receipts to save her job. Truth is your power, she said, squeezing my hand. Hold on to it. Miss Harper was my rock, her words a lifeline when the silence from Mr. B felt like failure. I thought of Jay, his small hand gripping mine after an elopement, his trust in me to keep him safe. I couldn't let him down, couldn't let Mr. C's lie win. On the third day my inbox pinged, a district email from Mr. B. My heart raced as I opened it, the classroom quiet, the kids at recess. Miss Thompson, it read, I've reviewed your documentation. Please meet me tomorrow at 3 p.m. to discuss. No details, no hint of his stance, just a summons that felt like a verdict. The next day I drove to the district office, a glass building that gleamed in the November sun, its lobby cold with marble and the smell of floor wax. Mr. B's office was sparse, a wooden desk, a window overlooking the parking lot, his face lined but kind. I sat across from him, my binder of receipts in my lap, my hands steady despite the nerves. Sarah, he said, his voice calm. I've read your email, seen the evidence. You did everything right. Mr. C failed to respond, and his claim that you didn't reach out is false. Relief washed over me, warm and sharp, but I held my breath, waiting. I'm granting an extension for Jay's application, he said, his pen tapping the desk. I'll file it myself to ensure it's processed, and I'm assigning an emergency one-on-one para starting Monday while we wait. I nodded, my throat tight, tears pricking my eyes. Jay would be safe. Lisa wouldn't lose him. I'd done it. But then Mr. B leaned forward, his eyes serious. Mr. C will be addressed, he said, his voice low. This isn't the first complaint. Your documentation was critical. I left his office, the binder lighter in my hands, the city's hum a quiet victory. I flashed back to a moment in October, Jay drawing a picture in class, his smile bright as he handed it to me. A stick-figure teacher with a heart. That was why I'd fought, why I'd kept the receipts, why I'd stood up. 2 days later, a letter arrived through the district mail, its envelope crisp, Mr. C's name in the return address. I opened it in my classroom, the kids at lunch, the smell of crayons lingering. It was a formal apology, typed, his signature shaky. Miss Thompson, I regret any miscommunication regarding Jay's application. My oversight caused delays, and I apologize for the impact. Miscommunication? Oversight? It was a lie dressed in polite words, but it was enough. An admission. A crack in his armor. I tucked the letter in my binder, my receipts now a shield and a sword, proof that I'd been right all along. Miss Harper saw me in the hall, her eyes twinkling. Heard about the letter, she said, her laugh sharp. You shook him, Sarah? Good. She told me Mr. B was investigating Mr. C, that other teachers had come forward with complaints, missed deadlines, ignored emails, blamed subordinates. Your receipts started something, she said, her hand on my shoulder. The emergency para, Miss Linda, started the next week, a kind woman with a calm voice and a knack for keeping Jay safe. I watched them in the classroom, Jay's hand in hers, his elopement slowing, his smile brighter. Lisa called, her voice thick with tears. Thank you, Sarah, she said. I can breathe again. But the victory was bittersweet. Mr. C avoided me, his office door closed, his presence a ghost in the halls. Whispers spread, teachers talking about his mistakes, his pattern. I felt eyes on me, some proud, some wary, like I'd crossed a line they hadn't dared. I lay awake at night, my apartment dark except for the streetlights, wondering if I'd done too much, if I'd hurt Mr. C more than I meant to. But then I thought of Jay, safe now, and Lisa's voice, and the binder of receipts that proved I wasn't the one who'd failed. The extension was granted, Jay's one-on-one approved by December, a permanent para assigned by January. I'd won, but the fight had changed me, stripped away the naive trust I'd brought to teaching. Pause extended, music slows to a melancholic piano heavy with growth. I thought the hardest part was over. The receipts, the meeting, the apology. But the real impact was still coming, a ripple that would reach beyond my classroom. Beyond Mr. C, to the heart of the job I loved. It's been months since I sent that email, since Jay got his para, since Mr. C's apology landed in my mailbox. I'm still teaching, still in that classroom with its creaky desks and crayon smell, but I'm different now. Stronger, sharper, less afraid to fight. Jay's thriving, his elopements rare, his laughter a daily gift. Lisa sends me updates, pictures of Jay at the park, safe with his para. Miss Harper's my mentor and friend. Her coffee date's a ritual where we laugh about the job's chaos and cheer my victory. You're a force, Sarah, she says, her eyes proud. I keep the binder on my shelf, its pages a reminder of what I'm capable of. My vision board's grown. New pictures of Jay's drawings, a house I'm saving for, a future I'm building. I wear a locket Miss Harper gave me, a small silver star, for shining, she said. It's not for the district, not for Mr. C, but for the teacher I've become, the one who fights for her kids no matter the cost. At the end of the year the news broke. Mr. C was fired. Not just reassigned, but gone, his office empty, his name erased from the district directory. Miss Harper told me over coffee, her voice low. It wasn't just you, she said. Other teachers came forward, missed IEPs, ignored requests, blamed staff. But your receipts, they lit the match. I didn't cheer, didn't gloat. I felt quiet, like I'd closed a chapter I hadn't meant to write. Mr. C wasn't evil, just careless, a man who'd chosen his own ease over kids like Jay. His firing wasn't my goal, but it was justice, a ripple from the truth I'd fought for. The district's changing, slowly. Mr. B implemented new protocols, faster reviews, better communication. I heard from Lisa that another student got a one-on-one inspired by Jay's case. My fight didn't just save Jay, it made waves, small but real, for kids I'll never meet. My revenge wasn't Mr. C's firing, though that's where it ended. It wasn't the apology or the extension, it was quieter, stronger. I chose Jay, chose truth, chose myself. I fought for a little boy who needed me, exposed a lie that could have broken me, and built a career where I don't bend to betrayal. I'm still teaching, still saving for that house, still dreaming of a classroom where every kid feels seen. Miss Harper's mentoring me for a lead teacher role, Lisa's my friend now, and Jay's my reminder of why I do this. The binder, the locket, the receipts, they're my armor, my proof that I'm enough, that I can fight and win. Mr. C tried to throw me under the bus, but I had receipts and they carried me further than he ever could. I chose Jay, chose truth, and that choice, quiet, deliberate, mine, is my triumph, my strength, my legacy. I think about that night sometimes, the classroom dark, my laptop glowing with Mr. C's lie. I didn't want to fight, didn't want to be the one to shake the system. But I had to, for Jay, for Lisa, for the teacher I was becoming. Sometimes I picture Mr. C reading my email, seeing his lie unravel, knowing he'd lost. I don't hate him, don't wish him harm. I hope he's learned, grown, found a way to be better. But I'm not waiting for his redemption. I'm building mine. One kid, one lesson, one truth at a time. The hardest thing isn't fighting, it's trusting yourself enough to fight. Believing your voice matters, even when the world says it doesn't. I'm not the rookie teacher I was. I'm Sarah, and I'm enough. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. If you've ever had to fight a boss, stand up for what's right, or win with receipts, drop it in the comments. I read every one and I want to hear your stories. If you like this, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more. I've got plenty more to share. Until next time, stay strong, stay true, and keep your receipts.